My friend's mom knocked at 11 p.m., then said something that kept me awake all night. The night air felt thick with tension as Kyle sat in his college dorm room trying to focus on his physics assignment, when 3 sharp knocks echoed through the silence. He had never expected his best friend Brandon's mother to show up at his door, especially not at this hour. Mrs. Helen Carter stood in the dim way, her usual composed demeanor replaced by something urgent and almost fearful. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched a small metallic device that pulsed with a faint blue light. "Come with me, Kyle," she whispered, her voice breaking the stillness. "You need to see something that will change everything you thought you knew about humanity." Kyle hesitated, confusion washing over him. Mrs. Carter had always been the picture of normalcy, a kind woman who baked cookies and volunteered at the local library. But tonight, her eyes held secrets that seemed too heavy to bear. She led him down the empty campus paths toward the old observatory that had been abandoned for years. The building loomed against the starlit sky, its dome cracked and forgotten by everyone except apparently Helen Carter. Inside the dusty interior, she activated the device, and suddenly holographic images filled the space around them. Ships that defied earthly design, creatures with elongated limbs and iridescent skin, and most shocking of all, humans working alongside these beings as equals. "I am not from Earth, Kyle," she said, her voice steady now despite the weight of her confession. "My real name is Thala, and I come from a world called Zentari, located in what you would call the Andromeda Galaxy." Kyle stumbled backward, his mind racing to process the impossibility of her words, but the evidence floated before him, undeniable and mesmerizing. Zentari was dying. She continued, "Our sun began collapsing centuries ago, and we searched desperately for refuge. We discovered Earth and its dominant species, humans, and what we found changed our entire civilization." She manipulated the hologram, showing scenes of human history, wars, innovations, art, and acts of incredible kindness amid unimaginable suffering. "Every species in the known galaxies possesses unique traits. The Solari have telepathy. The Vreniks can manipulate matter itself. The Karathi live for thousands of years, but humans—" She paused, her alien eyes now visible as the disguise flickered. "Humans have something we never encountered before." What Kyle managed to ask his throat. "Dry hope, resilience, compassion that defies logic." She said, "You endure suffering that would break most species, and yet you create beauty. You forgive. You love. You sacrifice for strangers. These are not common traits, Kyle. They are extraordinary." The hologram shifted, showing footage of human rescue workers pulling survivors from rubble, soldiers shielding civilians, doctors working through exhaustion in war zones, ordinary people performing extraordinary acts without recognition or reward. "When we first observed humanity, most of the Galactic Council dismissed you as primitive, violent, too emotional to be valuable," she explained. "But a few of us saw something different. We saw a species that refused to surrender, even when surrender made perfect sense." Thala waved her hand, and the images changed to show Zentari cities, beautiful but cold, orderly, but lifeless. "We are efficient, rational, advanced in technology, but we lost something along our evolution," she said softly. "We lost the ability to feel deeply, to hope, beyond reason, to love without calculating the cost. That is why I came here." She gestured around them. "Not to conquer or study, but to learn to remember what my people forgot. I married a human man. I raised a human child, and through them I rediscovered what makes life worth living." Kyle thought of Brandon, his best friend, who always saw the good in people, who never gave up on anyone, who believed tomorrow could be better than today. Suddenly, he understood. Brandon inherited more than just his mother's kindness. "But why tell me this now?" Kyle asked. "Why reveal yourself after all these years?" "Because the Galactic Council has made a decision," Thala said, her expression grave. "They want to make first contact with humanity within the next year, and I need someone to help prepare the way, someone who understands both worlds." "Me?" Kyle said incredulously. "I am just a college student. You are more than that." She replied, "You question everything. You seek truth. You treat others with respect regardless of their differences. These qualities matter more than degrees or titles." She showed him more holograms now of diplomatic chambers filled with alien representatives. "Some council members fear humanity. They see your capacity, For violence, your rapid technological growth, your stubborn refusal to accept limitations as threats. She explained. They want to approach with caution, with restrictions, with control. And the others, Kyle asked. We want to approach with partnership, with respect, with recognition that humanity deserves a place among the stars, not as subordinates but as equals, she said firmly. But we need proof that humans can handle the knowledge that they are not alone. The weight of her request settled over Kyle. Like a heavy blanket, she was asking him to become a bridge between worlds, to carry secrets that could panic billions, to trust that humanity was ready for this revelation. What happens if I say no? He asked. Nothing changes immediately, Thala replied, but eventually contact will happen whether we prepare for it or not. I would rather humanity face this truth with knowledge and guidance than with shock and fear. Kyle walked to the observatory window, staring up at the stars that suddenly seemed less distant, less cold. Each point of light now represented potential neighbors, allies, perhaps even friends. His whole life he had felt like humanity was small, insignificant, lost in an incomprehensibly vast universe. But Thala was offering a different perspective, one where humans were not defined by their limitations but by their unique strengths. Throughout history, humans survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters, not because they were the strongest or smartest, but because they refused to give up. They adapted. They cooperated. They hoped even when hope seemed foolish. What do you need me to do? Kyle asked, finally turning back to face her. Learn. Thala said simply. Learn about the species you will encounter. Study their cultures, their fears, their hopes. Help me create materials that will prepare humanity for first contact without causing panic. She handed him a small translation device. This will help you understand their languages, their concepts. But more importantly, I need you to help them understand humanity. Show them why your species deserves respect, why your emotions are strengths, not weaknesses. Over the following months, Kyle became Thala's student and partner. He met other disguised aliens living on Earth, each one having chosen to experience human life firsthand, each one transformed by the experience. He met Vera, a Karathi who worked as a hospice nurse, learning about human dignity and death. He met Chen, a Zolari professor who studied human literature, amazed by the depth of emotion captured in words. He met Luis, a Vrenix artist, who found inspiration in human creativity. Each of them shared stories of human resilience that had moved them. A single mother working 3 jobs to support her children, a community rebuilding after natural disasters, strangers becoming heroes in moments of crisis, people choosing kindness when cruelty would be easier. These aliens had come to Earth expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, they discovered teachers. Kyle compiled these stories, creating a presentation for the Galactic Council. He showed them human history with all its flaws and failures, but also with all its triumphs and growth. Humans are not perfect. He wrote in his introduction, they make mistakes. They struggle. They sometimes fail, but they never stop trying to be better, and that is their greatest strength. The night before Thala was scheduled to present Kyle's work to the council, she found him in the observatory again, staring at the stars. Are you afraid? She asked. Terrified, he admitted. What if they reject us? What if they decide humanity is too dangerous, too unpredictable? Then we keep trying, she said, sitting beside him. Because that is what humans do. You taught me that, Kyle. You never accept defeat as final. She smiled, and for a moment her alien features showed through completely. Yet Kyle felt no fear, only gratitude for this being who had bridged 2 worlds through love and determination. The council will make their decision, she continued, but regardless of the outcome, humanity will eventually join the galactic community. It is inevitable. Your species is too resilient, too curious, too hopeful to remain isolated forever. Kyle nodded, understanding that this was just the beginning, that the real work of building bridges between species would take generations, but someone had to start. And perhaps it was fitting that it began not with governments or militaries, but with ordinary people making extraordinary choices. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Thala stood to leave. Thank you, Kyle, she said, for reminding me why I came to Earth, for showing the Council what makes humanity special. Kyle watched her go, knowing that his life would never be the same, that he carried secrets that would reshape human understanding of the universe. But he also felt something unexpected: pride, not just in being human, but in being part of a universe that was far more connected than anyone realized. The stars no longer seemed distant. They seemed like home, waiting to welcome humanity when the time was right. And thanks to beings like Thala, who chose to see the best in humans, that time was coming soon.